Trump's scheduled trial dates and where they fall in the presidential primary calendar: March 4th, March 25th, March 20th. A judge has yet to set the date for Trump and his 18 co-defendants in the Georgia. It's now May 20th. So I'm happy to talk about polls and where people fall when I see that first trial. I'm happy to talk about it then. But until then, nobody needs to be talking about how Biden is doing or anything like that.
Actually,
Go ahead.
I don't know that we're going to see those trial dates exactly like that, because I think he's going to ask for continuances, and there's going to be delays because of the presidential primary. I don't know what happened with this ABC poll. I don't know if the people asking the questions were high or the people answering the questions were high. But somebody has got to have been on some edibles or something else, because this poll is just, off the charts. That does not mean that there's not huge red flags here. And what I do know is that you cannot take the Hispanic vote for granted because you're running against a racist. You can't take the woman vote for granted because you're running against a sexual harasser and sexual assaulter. You can't take the black vote for granted because you're running against a racist. You can't take the gay vote for granted because you're voting against a party that wants to ban drag queens. You can't take the intelligentsia vote for granted because you're running against a party that wants to ban books. The only way to run is to run hard, and I think Joe Biden needs to look at this poll, not be afraid of it, but yes, learn from it. People need to feel that the economy is better. The economy is better. Yeah. 2 stronger years of job growth. But it's not enough to say it. People need to feel it.
I have a legal note.
Can I?
Nobody at ABC that was conducting the poll was high. I'm just doing what I'm told to do.
But can I say
Can you finish your thought?
So you finish.
I will finish my thought. Well, now you walked all over it, so I'm just gonna. That's all right. We're going to break. We'll be right back.
Well, if that wasn't whistling past the graveyard, I don't know what is. That wasn't even remotely convincing. I mean, as you can see, the panic is clearly palatable with the ladies at The View. That was so bad. That segment was so cringeworthy to watch. I love that Sunny Hostin and her stages of grief, right? Don't tell me about the polls. Don't tell me about the polls until Trump's trials have started. Yeah, because the indictments in the mugshot worked out so well for you. I mean, these people are delusional. And then you've got that vile, vicious Ana Navarro, who just spewed out that racist, sexist, bigoted nonsense. Keep in mind that answer, or better, that non-answer that she gave, wasn't improvised. She's looking at her notes when she's delivering that dribble. She actually prepared that answer, and that's what she came up with. That patent cultural Marxist nonsense. And keep in mind, these mindless liberals are so desperate that they actually threw their own network, ABC, under the bus for that poll. I mean, did they even realize what they did? I mean, embarrassing doesn't even begin to describe it. Now, unfortunately for these borderline illiterates over at The View, it is not just the ABC Washington Post poll. Again, they're really living up to their reputation as the single most mind-numbingly dim-witted panelists on the planet. But what they show themselves totally ignorant of is that it's not just the ABC Washington Post poll that's showing results like that. I mean, NBC News Heart Research poll has Trump +3. Harris Messenger has Trump +5. The 52-42 Trump lead is big, but it's not out there as these simpletons at The View would like their dwindling audience to believe. Again, we're seeing it in the Real Clear Politics aggregate polling. When you average out all the polls thus far, Trump is leading Biden by nearly 2. In all of the last 8 polls, Trump is either tied or leading with Biden. I mean, there's no way around this. Again, keep in mind, in all of these polls, ABC, NBC, Emerson, Harvard Harris, Fox, Quinnipiac, in all of these polls, Trump never even came close to being tied with Biden in 2020. Forget taking the lead. This same ABC Washington Post poll is the one that gave Biden a 17-point lead in Wisconsin in 2020. Their polling in September of 2019 had Biden beating Trump by 15 freaking points. What do you think the ladies at The View were saying back then? Their final 2020 poll was Biden plus 12. It's because they consistently oversampled the Democrats. And yet, despite that, ABC Washington Post is getting Trump a double-digit lead. In fact, when you compare all these polls with where Biden and Trump stood in October 2020, they've all swung by double digits in Trump's direction. It literally doesn't matter what poll you're looking at. Morris, Emerson, Quinnipiac, CNN, Fox, they all show a double-digit swing to Trump. And if you wanted to know why the legacy media is having increasing bouts of unhinged meltdowns, take a look at this. This, according to the polls, is what the electoral map looks like right now. If the election were held today, it would be an electoral landslide. Trump would beat Biden with upwards of 312 electoral votes right now as we speak. And it's got a number of woke leftists absolutely panicked. If the ladies at The View are trying to play it cool, wait until you see what one of the most prominent members of the leftist media is saying. This is going to absolutely blow your mind. But first, gang, do you struggle with stiff or aching joints? Well, whether your pain is chronic or temporary, I got a natural solution you're going to absolutely love. It's called Joint Support by Pure Health Research, and this stuff is amazing. It contains 7 of Mother Nature's best superfoods for supporting healthy and flexible joints. It can promote healthy joint lubrication, making it easier to move in comfort. It even promotes healthy cartilage growth, and it takes just 1 small capsule of joint support every day to start feeling the positive effects. And as a courageous patriot listener of this channel, you could try Joint Support risk-free today and get a free 30-day supply of omega-3 when you take advantage of this special offer. So just click on that link below right now or head on over to getjointhelp.com/Turley to order Joint Support and claim your free bottle of omega-3 while supply lasts. Click on that link below right now. Now, even with all of that, the ABC Washington Post poll is presenting itself to be remarkably resistant to scrutiny. Its sampling was 25% Democrat, 25% Republican, and 42% independent. The poll showing a decisive 13-point lead for Trump among independents, 52-39, which is comparable to Trump's lead with independents among other polls. The vast majority of Democrats, 60%, want to see someone else other than Biden as their nominee, whereas most Republicans are totally fired up to vote for Trump, so the enthusiasm gap is huge. Trump is actually winning among Latino voters in this Washington Post poll, which is an outlier. But even the Washington Post itself is admitting that Trump is seeing levels of minority support no Republican has reached in half a century. And so this is why some of the more prominent members of the woke media are really starting to absolutely freak out. Case in point, look at this panic coming from the Young Turks' Jake Uyghur. Look at this. Mr. President, you're going to lose to Trump. We're begging you to step down. I mean, he's literally saying what the illiterates at The View want to say, but their producers at ABC won't let them. I mean, this is panic on steroids. Here's how he starts his piece. Quote, the old rule about incumbents was that if they're under 50 points in approval, they're toast. President Joe Biden is under 40. There's almost no chance he's going to win. I've never heard of an incumbent polling under 40 points who went on to win re-election. When it comes to Joe Biden, 3 in 6 recent polls had him in the 30s. And one recent poll, President Biden was at an abysmal 32%. Sorry, but that's unrecoverable. You're just telling yourself sweet little lies if you think he can win with those numbers. I know what everyone in Washington is going to say next, but that's not fair. He passed so many bills. No one has passed as much legislation since Grover Cleveland or something. He passed a semiconductor bill. I got bad news for you if you're a Democrat. No one cares about the semiconductor bill or any of the bills that helped his donors so much, and coincidentally, a couple of other Americans as well. Even if you love those bills, no American even knows about them. On the other hand, if you're a Republican, Biden is a godsend, especially if you're MAGA. And he goes on to just implore, to plead with Biden's people, you have got to step aside. Jenkins, he's under the extremely misguided opinion that Biden is actually the only person that Trump can beat. Any other Democrat could take Trump out. Of course, I can't think of any objective piece of evidence that would even remotely indicate an extreme position like that. But regardless, Cenk is an admission of the panic that's setting in among Democrats. Look, he knows no one reads Newsweek anymore, so he tweeted this out. I mean, seriously, gang, look at how panicked this comes across. There is no serious person in politics who doesn't realize that Biden would lose to Trump if the election were held today. In fact, right now, it would be an electoral landslide, and yet no other Democratic politician in the country has the courage to challenge him. Cowards! Cowards! I mean, they're freaking out, gang. They're seeing the polls. Trump is surging. Biden is collapsing. Cenk is having a meltdown. And no amount of wishful thinking is going to change that. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.